Welcome to Framework Fortune and welcome back Framework Fortune community. It's time for the last rip, the Monday through Friday series where we take a look at the top 10 Nasdaq and NYSE gainers on the day. And we're going to start out with the SPY. Now the SPY is not one of the top gainers. The SPY is the S&P 500, which gives us an idea of the overall stock market. If you've been following me for a while, I'm bearish. I don't probably need to say much more. It has been making this consolidation here lately where it's just running into this 420 to 425 area. And in fact, it hasn't even got up to 425. The high today was 423, but right across all these candles right here, you can see that they are hitting in the same spot. With the uptrend that we have and this topping resistance, we have kind of this triangle of consolidation where the price of the overall market is getting squeezed on the SPY ETF. So what comes out of a squeeze? Either a big leg up or a big leg down. So to me, it's not looking good. But let's go ahead and hop into the top gainers. Number one on the Nasdaq list, it looks like we have some weird OTC stock. Yeah, and this is nothing to cover here. There's no chart or anything. That's just garbage. So this didn't run 333%. It just, whatever it did, makes it look like that. Number two is RMED, RMED. If you were in a live stream this morning, I did trade RMED. Some of the traders made some nice profits. You can see here where I made some mistakes on this. I got a nice entry right here at this 750 area, but I did not lock out up here when it ran to that $9 area. I instead held it and ended up taking a loss, hitting my stop loss here for a little $15 loss. Now, I did continue to hold up the rest of the day and run to 982. So, I felt like I got greedy there. This was kind of the rip I was looking for it to rip over $9 back here, but it didn't. But keeping my losses small, I'll easily make $15 back, no problem. RMED did run 87% today. There wasn't any news, but there was a nice crossover and some increasing volume that's came in on the daily. And basically when it crossed over that 50, it just kind of exploded up. And we got a nice continuation move today. But getting held up at that 200 day, even though it got up to 982, it still was closed right at the 200. Could be one to keep an eye on for maybe a possible break over the 200. But we may have to see some consolidation over the next couple of days. There not being any news is something to be concerned about. So number three, we have Exfo. This was a company that was going private transaction, which means that some other company that's not on the stock market is going to buy this company, and the price just got pushed up to there, and then that's probably what the price is they're buying it at. So if that company's buying it at this price, nobody else will want to buy it at this price, and that's why you see no volume or anything going on. So nothing there. NEXT being up 42%. They got a little bit of news that Morgan Stanley upgraded the stock from equal weight to overweight and announced a $6 profit target. Not that analyst ratings actually really mean anything. Very rarely do they get anything right, but a lot of people do look at that. So because that was a positive analyst upgrade or whatever, it got some attention. And it did cross over all the EMAs multiple times before. You can see it's popped above the indicators and then just came right back down. So maybe they know something that we don't know about this company. But it did get a decent little move. Just rode up the 20-day all day. Would have been a slow gainer. Slow, nice, easy gainer if you played it. BIBB, this is very interesting. This chart pattern on the 15-minute is nutty. Looks like it was halted there or something. And then it just had a huge gap up, maybe on some news. Yeah, so they got a drug approved by the FDA. So you can just see FDA approval come in, shot this thing up like crazy, and then it just kind of sold off from there. But it is holding some new highs. Next, we got UONE, U1, Urban One. This is one that's been running on the whole Juneteenth thing, and it's just continuing that run. I'm sure there's some social media hype behind this. None of these PRs are like anything that makes the company really any money. It's just saying, like right there, it will hold strategic engagements to increase reputation of Black, Latina, X talent in asset management industry. But money doesn't see color or race or nationality or any of that. Money is money. It doesn't care about who you are, what you do. So there's not really a PR there that says they're going to make $1 million or they're going to get part of another company. They are providing a value to these select people they've chosen to provide value to. But what value is the company getting back? Because the shareholders are the ones who want to know what they're getting in return for the company that they're in, helping out somebody else or giving value back. And they're not just going to want to give value away for nothing. This is a really weird trade to kind of analyze because of that social justice, politic, all of that stuff clearly affecting the price. It's hard to kind of know where this is going to go. Could this keep running? Absolutely. Could it sell off and go back down to $1? Absolutely. And BHPA is next. You can see it's OTC stock, barely any volume, nothing to look at there. LWLG. Let's see, they've got some type of selective epic core photonics European index, I'm guessing here. And they got a receipt of a U.S. patent of high volume manufacturing processes for a bunch of big words that I have no idea what that's going to mean. That's kind of in the last couple of months, but today they just had that, whatever they included. And I guess that was enough to get this going. About a 90 million to 100 million in float. Back here, you can see we've been following it, and it did break out of this big triangle consolidation on the daily chart, and it's just been ripping ever since. So if it stays above the 20-day EMA here, the green one, on the 15, 30, and probably 4-hour charts, then it will probably continue to run. It could stay bullish, but after this big run, I would expect a pullback coming here soon. This could be a play. This is one to keep on watch over the next couple of weeks. And then we've got Clove. Looks like there's an option alert going on there, and this is getting kind of roped in with the social media Wall Street bets trades. And it got a nice pop, popping from 9.52 all the way up to 13.13 in after hours. 20-day crossing over the 50, but still has a ways to go before it crosses over the rest of the indicators. This was at a previous high of almost 18, about 17.50. So it's really not something I would touch. If it's getting pumped up, we could look for a possible day trade. The other problem, though, is for some reason these Wall Street bets guys want to try to short squeeze these big float companies. So this company's got about 400 million shares out there. It's going to take a lot more money to move than, say, AUGX here that only has 26 million in shares. That just makes me wary, and a lot of them say hold, 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 but the truth is, I've said it before, I'll say it again, there's always a price. Diamond hands, hodling, all that is cute, but if the stock price gets high enough and you're a retail trader who normally makes 30 to 50,000 a year and you just hit a big win on AMC or GameStop for 100 or 200,000, you're going to lock that out. There's always a price. And that's why I get so weary, is because at some point these hodlers and diamond handers are going to hit their price point that they cannot help it. Human psychology is going to make those type of people very excited. And I'm not knocking it, because if I was up $100,000 on a play, I would be very excited myself. Who wouldn't be, right? But that brings unpredictableness into these stocks, because excited people are usually very unpredictable. So on AUGX, nothing there. So that's the end of the Nasdaq list. We got QTS, and this looks like it had a big gap up. Let's see what we got on news here. So this thing had a ton of PR this morning. It looks like Blackstone is agreeing to buy this trust, QTS, for $6.75 billion. And all these different press releases are just kind of going through the deal. So kind of the same thing as one earlier where we got the acquisition. It got pushed up to the price that they're buying it for, and more than likely that's as high as it's going to go. So next we got SRT. We have no PR. This is Star Tech. Looks like they like some little bit of Star Trek, but this coming up, getting a nice bounce. about 40 million in shares, and only had 190,000 volume, and was able to move from 7 to 8, so a nice dollar rip. And it was all the way up at 9. So this is an interesting stock to maybe keep an eye on. I'm going to add that to the watch list. But no PR, just all of a sudden getting some buying and getting back above those indicators. So this could start to go bullish. We'll see. It's running into a lot of resistance right here at this $8. You can see it right across there where it's hit multiple times in the past. So that's going to be strong resistance from that previous resistance and support. But it's one to keep on watch. TH is next. We don't have any news on it. It is one of the consumer type of stocks. Getting a move from 387 up to 45. Pretty low volume, and this is about 100 million in shares. So FUV, I think, is a EV stock. They're at least a vehicle company, but I think they're an EV stock. And you can see that they've started kind of heating up a little bit. This one may be the one I covered the other day. I don't remember. I took that one EV stock off my watch list, but I'm gonna put this on there. I don't know if it's the same one or not, but another EV stock getting a little bit of action on no news. But they are all pretty undersold from where they were previously at. So next we got Alrock Technology. They did doing a public offering, and this thing has ripped pretty hard over the last couple of days. From 10 all the way up to 17 today, ripping $3. It's bullish above all indicators. I'm not sure why this price offering is pushing the price up, but it's definitely one to keep on watch as it's hit a new high a year here recently. XYF, very low volume on it. This looks like an Asian ADR. It got to pop up, but not a lot of buying on it. Nothing really there. NTP looks like another possible Asian stock. So that's two Asian stocks we're seeing so far, and some EV stocks had some moves that may be pointing to a hot EV market soon. But it didn't have much going on with it, just some random buying coming in there. And it's way above the 50-day. The 20-day is way up here. This thing has almost been going pretty much straight up. So next we got SVC. What do we got here? So this seems like it is a REIT, I'm willing to imagine. Looks like they bought 5 U.S. hotels. So this is a company that's buying. This is actually very interesting. The commercial market's been taking a hit because of the pandemic and so many businesses being closed. This company is taking advantage of that and buying hotels right as the economy's back open and people are starting to travel without masks and they can go have nice vacations, and it's summertime. So that, I think, was a very wise investment. That makes me very interested in this REIT, that they are on top of things like that. So I see why this popped up. That's good stuff. And you can see they pay out a quarterly dividend. It's only a penny, but this is probably a relatively new REIT, I would imagine, if they're buying up hotels. Let's look on a max chart. So looking back, they were all the way up at 51, but we're not paying out dividends. REITs are required by law to pay out 90% of their profits to the shareholders as dividends. And since I'm not seeing any dividends back here when this price was really high, I'm thinking SVC might have been a different company or something back here. It's hard to tell. So the only thing I'm going to go off is just this daily, and I like the recent move they did. So this could be one to add to your REIT portfolio. I'm definitely going to check it out and maybe add it to mine if it continues to move. AMC, and of course we know what's going on with AMC, and this, it has 500 million in float, and they're doing these short squeezes to try to push it up. It's just the same shenanigans, and basically you got Reddit, Wall Street bets trying to push it up. You got the institutions who are taking their side, who are pushing it up, and then you got the institutions who tried to short this because it's a garbage company, getting the ate up. So it's just Wall Street games being played with social media and retail traders. And that's why these stocks are so unpredictable, and like I said, why I do not want to really play them. But who knows, maybe I'm missing out and I need to start doing some technical analysis on these and see if I can predict them. Because right there on AMC, there's a perfect little U shape 4 days ago, and this would have been a nice rip, nice entry there at 43 up to 72. So they do make some chart patterns that make sense sometimes, and then sometimes they don't. So we'll see what continues to happen with these social media stocks, and maybe we have to adapt to a new retail market of crazy Wall Street bets and Reddit traders doing their thing. Who knows? So last on the list, we got OMI. They launched a nonprofit foundation to try to build healthier communities. And this thing's just been going up, and it's got a little cheap dividend there. It's not really making a lot of money. It's, a tenth of a penny. Apparently people liked that they launched a nonprofit because it jumped from about 42 to 48. It's been on a nice climb, bouncing off of the 50-day and 100-day moving average every time it pulls back. And it just bounced off recently, and that 20-day broke back above the 50. And this area here was some pretty strong resistance in that 40. You can see all those candles that hit at the $40 area. So this just basically had a breakout that was coming for a while in this chart pattern, but it's not something I would probably trade or invest in, especially with that tiny little dividend payment. So because we've been seeing some EV plays popping up, I want to take a look at a couple of EV plays that haven't popped up yet, and I'm taking a look at Solo right now. And you can see Solo, they're all going to have kind of a similar chart pattern, but look, we've seen those ones start to break out. Solo hasn't broke out yet. It's been rebounding nicely. The 20 is coming up, pointing towards the 100 and 200 day. The 50 day is pointing up, and the 200 and 100 are very close together. So with enough volume, this 20 could do a crossover, and Solo has some room to run. $5 is going to be some tough resistance, but after that, Solo could easily get up to 6, maybe even 7. So this would be one to keep on watching. I'm actually going to put it on the watch list as well. And the other day, we saw Workhorse make a nice pop up. It's still below the 100 and 200, but it hasn't dropped very much. And you can see kind of the same thing on Solo. These indicators are starting to point up. So it may be about time to start looking at these EV plays for some swing trades and day trades. They may be back ready to move again. If you've got any EV plays that you like that I haven't covered so far yet, leave them in the comments below and let me know your thoughts about them. Remember, we're at war with the YouTube algorithm, so if you haven't yet, smash that like button. Appreciate everybody joining me as always. Stay safe out there. Until next time.